Hey there rulers, DMO73 here, and it's time for the 12 Sacred Knights to assemble in our Replicant Aristella deck profile. Let's go ahead and jump right in.
Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoco.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product.
The Ruler School Circuit Series now taking orders on our Q1 2025 Squid.exe circuit kits, and to our guest lecturer members, Vite Ramen and Casey Madden.
Class is in session.
So here is the list. As always, as a reminder, you can check the link to go straight to it over on Force of Wind down below. Copy it over to your lists and make some tweaks. And don't forget, you can get your pre-orders right now for Fates Reunited through Odyssey Games. You're not going to want to miss that set. So, Aristella, the Returned King, aka Replicant Aristella. Essentially, his whole shtick is that your quick cast, your 12 Sacred Knights gain quick cast, and you can cycle through your 12 Sacred Knights by discarding them. You get to go get Wall from this really great text of search your hand or deck. I really like this new addition for how these kind of cards are working, because if you do have the copy in your hand, you don't feel so bad about it. Put it in the field and then shuffle it, and then it judgments for 2 white, at which point in time has the way to be able to replenish all of your guards arts for your members of the 12 Sacred Knights, which is very nice for this deck. Almost every single Resonator has a God's Art in this deck, and you get to grab some 12 Sacred Knights when you flip. So not being able to only have to play 1 wall is very nice, because then even if we do draw it, we can cheat it into play, and then from there we kind of get to very heavy tribal stuff. We're playing a couple copies of Warhorse because we are searching the deck a lot, so sometimes you'll be able to have the extra will to be able to play this and then go into it and get your stuff. Have swiftness and push in and do all kinds of cool stuff. We're playing obviously a couple copies of Rumsfeld because he's really, really good to be able to protect a really wide board, which is awesome. And then from there, it's just a lot of 12 Sacred Knights, making use of the fact that we've got these wonderful God's Arts and flickering of stones, particularly also making use of the Tale of the 12 Sacred Knights. This is a 12 Sacred Knight card, so we can pitch it off of 12 Aristella to then have it come into play, and then it counts as all magic stones. So all of these 12 Sacred Knights that we have that have resonance triggers will all trigger. Imagine having 2 Lumerias on the field, plus a Hydria, plus an Ignia, all on the field when suddenly you cheat this in after discarding and searching, and you just get mad value. Tons of stuff from there. We're still playing all the 12 Sacred Knights just so we can have 12 Sacred Knights of different names, because we want this to be able to go be very easy to cast. Fukuryu, the dragon here, as kind of an extra backup big body win con, which is really awesome. Also helps us to be able to heal Aristella if he gets killed, which is very nice. Then we're playing a couple other cool tribal cards with things like a couple copies of Empty Table. You can sacrifice a 12 Sacred Knight to pay it, so then suddenly your 12 Sacred Knights can get bigger. Playing things like Raymond and Windia, obviously to be able to support it. Quick cast Vacus is insane. The only reason we're playing only 2 copies is because the stone base does get a little tricky to play him, and you can search him out when you need him. Also, obviously, the Crown Stone of Moonglow is also an amazing stone for this deck. So the void cost can be used for the pitch. You can pay 2 life to play a Resonator of mono attribute, which is most of your 12 Sacred Knights that are all 2-drop or above, and then pretty much all of them except for Vacus. Makes it so they don't have to worry about being canceled, especially if they're quick cast, and then they'll have a barrier for a bit, so they're guaranteed to kind of stick around. We cost you a little bit of life, but we do have ways to be able to give ourselves life thanks to Omnis, and just get to do some pretty crazy stuff. Some quick cast outside of Vacus, you also get some really good benefit from like Olgaria being able to have quick cast. You can, quick cast him and have an 8/8 flying blocker, which is really nice because we'll search for Olgaria, or Shelly, all kinds of cool stuff here. And then just because we're a tribal deck, and sometimes you'll get paired up against something like Ruchil, where you don't want to have the will to swing a bunch of times, you get a big enough board, End of the False Savior will do the trick. You can End of the False Savior one of your own guys, and then your whole board will just shoot your opponents in the face, which is really nice. Side deck wise, we're just playing a bunch of different 12 Sacred Knights because we want to be able to make use of Shelly with Olgaria if we need to find the one that we need to as well. It's kind of a toss-up. You don't really need to lean heavily into that, but for the sake of the channel, that's what we did. And then, of course, Shiva, Rogue Spectator, and Fire Pit Trap, and another Fukuryu, just because maybe we wanted to play a 4th. So that is the list. Honestly, ton of fun. Pretty solid tier 2 list if I had to give a competitive rating, but it is a lot of fun to play at locals, so I recommend checking it out. Let me know what you guys have done with Replicant Aristella and the 12 Sacred Knight engine in the comment section down below. And until next time, this is GMO73 saying class dismissed.